What is going on, guys? My name is Andrew, and today I want to show you what it's like for Canadians to buy rental property in places like Cleveland, Ohio. So let's check this out right now. Let me explain a couple of things to get us started. First of all, why are Canadians buying properties in the US? The first reason is obviously going to have to do with price. Properties in the US are far cheaper than they are in Canada. What does this mean for us? Well, this property, we picked it up for $147,000. And as you can see, it's a side-by-side duplex. What does side-by-side mean? Instead of having a second floor apartment and a main floor apartment, you just have them beside each other. It's kind of like having two houses. But what do you get for $147,000? And are you going to need to do any work to it? Well, in this video, we're going to show you what the condition is like for a property like this, some things that you're going to have to tackle, and also we're going to talk at the end about what it's like to buy property, things that you need to know as a Canadian to make this happen. So this property is partially tenanted, meaning one tenant is already living in the other unit. So here's what we have. This is a side-by-side duplex. The other unit is going to be identical to this one in slightly better condition. But what we're working with here is this. This property, we bought this, and I know it looks like we have some work going on here, but we more or less bought this place in the condition it is right now. The neighboring unit is rented for $1,100 US, and then they pay their own utilities. And over here, we're expecting after a renovation to get a little bit more than that. So this property will bring in a little over $2,300 or so. Now, I know it looks like a lot's going on here right now, but we haven't actually gotten started with that much. We've just started skimming the walls, getting everything ready for paint, and getting a lot of the dirty work going. But we pretty much bought the place like this. It's got this old style feel, you know, the divider right here from living room to dining room. You can see we have some of the old wooden windows going on. Not all of them are replaced, but this is generally the condition that you're gonna see in a place like this. Now, we've covered up the floors. The floors were actually previously a hardwood floor that were painted black, which, you know, if you think about it, it's not very common for us to do things like that in Canada, but sometimes you'll see rental properties where they'll have done something like this. They have the old baseboard heaters. This is from a boiler system. Some of the old big tall baseboards going around over here. We have budgeted about $35,000 to spend on renovations to this unit, that's USD, in order to bring it up to snuff. And that might seem like a lot to some people, a little to others, but really it's actually just right because this is actually a very big place. As you can see here, we have a lot of the classic old house design going on, where you'll see like these type of divisions going on. People already tried to build weird things into here, but we don't really want to keep this. If it was in Canada, we'd be spending the money to tear these things out, do open concept and all that fun stuff. But over here, because the properties are so sensibly priced, we don't want to be renovating over what the neighborhood is going to command. And because this is rental property, we really need to make things that are effective. So we basically have that first living space. This would be kind of like the dining area. As we come over here into the kitchen, we have this like semi-L kind of alcove kitchen going on. But the thing that's interesting is that the cabinets themselves, these are actually very old cabinets and they've been painted and repaired time and time again. And we thought about it, you know, buying kitchen cabinets over here is going to cost about $3,000. So $4,000 to get the whole kitchen done, plus the cost of the countertops and a few other things. We're not talking about backsplash, but you can see where we're going with this. But this kitchen, definitely going to replace it, and you're going to see what it's going to look like in the next video. Now, a few things to note here, even things like this, you're going to have to pay attention to. You know, the door, it's an older door, but it has like a little bit of broken glass here. You have to accommodate to repair things like that. We're not going to be replacing trims. There are the old baseboards throughout the whole place. That's from the boiler system. And we do want to see if we can salvage what we can, caulk everything around, you know, just really tie everything up. And by the way, in case I didn't mention, we are going to put new flooring, vinyl plank throughout the whole place. And that's going to make a world of a difference. I'm going to show you at the end of the video how everything adds up. Okay, if we look at these stairs, you might say, okay, what do we do with them? Do we sand them down and paint them? With something like this, again, for rental property, you maybe don't want to have to tear everything up or like sand it down, redo the whole thing. This is very expensive carpentry work. You don't want to do that necessarily. So all we're going to do here, light sand, mix varathane and stain. It's a very cost-effective way to restore this. It's not going to look new, but it's going to look a hell of a lot better than it does right now. If you don't want to do that and you have another alternative option you want to do, putting a runner on here is going to save you quite a lot of money. So right now we're on the second floor, and you'll see in these spaces, you're going to have these bedrooms. Some of them are appropriately sized, some of them are a little bit on the funny side, but what we do have is we have these doors over here. Now, just so you know, when you take care of these doors, you can't just paint on them. You have to sand them down, prep them. And again, you can't even replace these for fully new doors because these doors, when they were made, they were actually made by somebody, which means they weren't manufactured. which means that you can't buy this as a standard item door. So we're kind of stuck with this, and we need to refinish it, repaint it. And refinish it, repaint it, we're just gonna give it light stand and paint it properly so that it lasts. Now this room right here, what are we doing? We're still doing standard things. We're gonna be continuing to do wall repairs throughout the place, sand it, paint it. Lights like this, we're gonna change them out for puck lights. You know, you can order these things off Amazon. We talk about this all the time. And other than that, we're gonna try to keep everything more or less as it is. Floors are gonna be new. That is gonna make the big difference. And the entire place is gonna get painted from top to bottom. Walls, baseboards, doors, trims, everything except the ceiling is getting painted. The place is gonna look and feel fresh. Now, one of the questions we always get is how do you decide where you should be stopping with some of these renovations? So come here, for example, you see there's carpet going up here, which is, you know, it's fine, but where do you decide where to stop with the plastering, with the flooring? Like, what do we do? Tear out all this carpet and put vinyl here as well? No. You see, honestly, where you can preserve things, do try to preserve things. We're gonna do repairs, but we don't wanna destroy things that don't need to be destroyed, or we don't wanna tear things up that don't need to be torn up. In this case, we're gonna try to keep the carpet because there's a lot of work to vinyl everything, and it's a lot of work to do the stairs. Keep it, clean it, preserve it when possible. Let's talk quickly about the bathroom. This is always the fun part because you never really know where you're gonna stop in a place like this. You know, it's a bit of an older tub, but do you have to actually tear this out? You see, we've been deciding on this. All we're gonna do here, just so you know, is we're just going to glaze the tub. We're gonna leave this because it's actually in not so bad condition. We're gonna redo the caulking, make it look a lot fresher, and you're gonna see after the whole thing's done, it's gonna look way better. The tiles, they're pink. Are we going to start to tear this up and see if we can improve this? Honestly, this is just gonna get sanded, coarse a little bit, and then we're gonna paint it with tile paint. We're gonna change the toilet, we're gonna re-caulk the vanity in place, and it's gonna look a lot better. Sometimes with a space like this, you can already tell it's awkward, it's not ideal. What are you gonna do about it? We have to make the best for the rental property. You're never going to make it perfect without breaking the bank. Okay, so in here, what are we going to talk about? Here's what we're going to do with the basement. The basement has a side entrance over there. Traditionally in Canada, we'd be thinking about how to make this a basement apartment. Like, look at the ceiling height, it's great. But in Cleveland, and in lots of places in the States, basement apartments aren't actually as common. It's like the cost of building a whole new apartment in a basement, it's like you can put it into a down payment and just buy another house. So why would you build a basement apartment? Just for some context, right? This space over here, most of the basements that we see tend to be used for exactly what they were built for, which is storage. And down here, we're thinking a little bit about how to add extra usable space to the main floor apartment or to this side of the apartment. So what we're gonna do here is we're going to steel paint the floor so that everything is sealed. And over here, there's actually an old washroom. Over here, what we want to do is, as you can see, this is like, yeah, it's not the most attractive looking space. So what are we going to do with this? When you have basements like this, you have the exposed ceiling and all this stuff. What I like to do is I like to just get the sprayer and we're going to spray paint the whole place. Just seal everything. You clean it up and then you seal everything. The ceiling is sealed, the walls are sealed, the floor is sealed, everything's sealed. And this is not the landlord special. This is actually a great way to clean things up when you have a raw space like this. This thing is like a splash sink. It's like really heavy. It's going to cause damage when we remove it. When we do, we're going to do some minor tile repair, not with necessarily matching tile, but we're just going to get it fixed. And if you come over here, there's actually a shower stall over here. And when we're done cleaning this up, we're just going to put a shower liner or an insert over here. And we're going to tile the floor and whatever we have to do to make this functional. Once we make this a functional bathroom, this is huge value add to the unit. Now, why are we doing this? We're doing the work here in the basement because this unit otherwise, for 4 bedrooms, it only has 1 bathroom, which isn't good. So if we install a full bathroom over here, we're gonna add tons of value to the space. Okay, let's quickly talk about outside. So outside, as you can see, there's a lot of green going on here, and you don't wanna keep this for too long because it's gonna eventually cause damage to your place. So what you wanna do is we wanna start to remove all of this, and with the exterior work, we wanna clean up what's on the side of the house. We wanna fix some of the things that's happening around the door, like the capping and all of that stuff. And then we also wanna remove any shrubs, any trees that might be eventually digging into the foundations because that's gonna cause leaks. And if this is causing problems, we always want to clear out the gutters, because the gutters, if they're not clean, you're going to have water that's going to start to overflow and permeate into your property. So we're adding that to the list. Over here, we have our old porch. We're going to get this cleaned up, both the rear and the front porch. We're going to get it pressure washed along with the side, and then we're going to repaint it. It's the easiest way. It'll last you quite a long time. So for $147,000 US, we are buying a side-by-side duplex. The other unit is in a little better condition than this, but you know, more or less the same. And we are going to spend a total of about $35,000 to do everything here. I forgot to mention one thing that we're doing, which is the roof as well. The roof is actually a big ticket item in that. I think we're spending about $7,000 USD out of that $35,000 budget to get this all done. But for the rest of the budget, we're actually able to get all new flooring throughout the entire property. We're able to get the entire place skimmed and painted. We're going to get the kitchen cabinets removed and we're going to install new ones. And we're also going to get a slightly spiffed up bathroom on the second floor. We're going to get all walls, doors, and trims painted. And then downstairs, we're going to get the place sealed, cleaned up, and we're also going to get a functional bathroom down there as well. Now, is this going to be top of the line? No, it's not going to be top of the line. The truth is that very similar to where we are in the Ontario market, you don't want to renovate beyond the area. And what people are definitely looking for in certain cities is really affordability. Things are getting very expensive and it's all relative to the market. Even here, nobody necessarily wants or needs a fully renovated washroom or a top-of-the-line kitchen just to have to pay more than they can afford for it. Now, financially, the way that this works out for us is that after we spent $35,000 plus $147,000 to buy it, we should be able to get an appraisal on the property pushing $200,000, which means that if we refinance at 65% loan to value, we are drawing out the vast majority of our capital, which leaves us with enough equity to go on and move on to another project, just like we did in the beginning with the initial burst strategy in Canada. So here's what it comes down to. If you're interested in buying properties in the US because it just makes sense for you right now, the Canadian real estate market isn't working for you, or maybe you have rental properties that are no longer cash flow positive, they're kind of just break even or they're losing money, you might want to shift into a different market like we are right now. And you don't have to be here like we are to manage the property. We're just doing this because we now have enough projects going that it makes sense for us to cost down on volume work. So if you want to know how to do this, get in touch with us. We'll be happy to show you how. Join our masterclasses on how we and other Canadians are pivoting into the US market, and we'll scale our